Oh, so pleased to welcome in good friend of the program, dual threat analyst, national champion quarterback, all-around good man, Blaine Fowler is back with us. Blaine, it's good to see your face. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm looking forward to when we can go to whatever phase that is, green, and I can come in there with you guys. Because I'm not that far away from you. I feel like I'm close. I'm just a few blocks away, but we got to keep you guys spaced out right now for social distancing.
Well, we bring Greg on, and he's literally upstairs, so we're kind of used to this workflow.
I know. It seems weird, but it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Blaine, you're looking swole. Did you just finish your workout?
I did earlier. Well, I earlier this morning, so I got one in finally. I haven't been able to. I've been really, really busy getting things back up and running, but I did get a workout in this morning. Yes.
Of course you did.
Thanks for noticing.
That
Thanks
vein's
for noticing.
popping in your right arm. And it's like really big right now. Yeah. Wow.
The kids call that my A vein. I don't, because it's shaped like an A.
Okay.
And I'll just say this: when I go to give blood or get,
Is there a snake in there?
They love me. At the Red Cross, they love me because it's really easy.
Wow. Viewer discretion advised. Man.
Blaine Fowler with those veins popping on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, a moment ago we just saw a screenshot of the stadium at Utah, and we're talking about the biggest games of the season of each month of the 2020 season for BYU football, Blaine. So clearly the biggest game in September is the opener at Utah, right? Can we all agree on that?
There's no question about it. It's the biggest game of the year. And it just happens to be the first game, but absolutely, for the month of September, for the year, for the 3-year period, it's all, it's the biggest. That one, I don't know how anybody can question it. And keep in mind, there's some big name opponents on this schedule in the month of September, but none is more important than that Utah game. It's the rivalry game. Even though they don't overlap quite as much as they used to on who they're targeting in the recruiting wars, they still do go head-to-head on some recruits. And so the games where you directly recruit against that team, to me, are the most important games of the season. So that makes this Utah game, with all of the other things, the biggest game of the season.
Riddle me this. Do you think Utah's the best opponent on the schedule?
Boy, I don't know. Kyle's had a way of just kind of reloading that team, but this is as much as he's had to reload that I can remember in the last 6 or 7 years. This last year's team was a senior-laden, unbelievably talented team, and Kyle, who is the master of the understatement, even from the beginning of the year last year, said, "Boy, this is the year we've got to do some things. We're a veteran team. We're as talented as we've ever been on defense." So the fact that Kyle was saying those things last year tells you a lot, because he usually tries to really downplay it. And the evidence was how good they were, especially on the defensive side of the ball last year. And they're losing 9 of those guys. And we're talking about NFL caliber players. So as much as Utah typically, they don't rebuild, they just reload. I don't know how you reload that much talent. So I don't know that they're going to be the best team. They'll have talent, but they'll be much younger. And, Michigan State's got a lot coming back this season. Minnesota, who was very good last year, has a bunch coming back. There's several games on this schedule where they're going to play very talented teams. And I don't know enough about the young guys that are filling back in for Utah at this point, nor does anybody other than maybe that coaching staff, to say that Utah is going to be the most talented team or the best team they play this year.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation. As we move to October, there are some highly intriguing games here. The headliner is an SEC opponent in Missouri, is coming to play at LaVell Edwards Stadium on Saturday, October 10th. But Blaine, I can't get over the fact that BYU lost to a team like South Florida on the road last year, and how devastating and deflating that loss was for BYU coming off of a bye. I look at that Northern Illinois game, and I just have I have nightmares about what happened in South Florida. So I think that could potentially have the most negative of an impact, but is Missouri the headliner in October?
I don't know. So you mentioned 2 of them. You also have Houston and Utah State in that month, right?
Yeah.
So to me, of those teams, if I'm going to stick with this same thing, the same theme that we talked about in the month of September, which one of those 4 teams do we go head-to-head with in the recruiting wars for in-state talent? And it's Utah State. And it'd be different if BYU had had no trouble with Utah State in the last 5 or 6 years, but that just hasn't been the case. Utah State has risen up to where they're thinking, wait a minute, we're on par with BYU. So to me, that's the game that means the most. In-state recruiting, in-state bragging rights. It's a battle of very familiar. You have families that are divided. Hey, our own Dave McCann's a big Utah State guy. All of his kids go to Utah State. And there's a lot of that in this state. So to me, in-state rivalry, direct recruiting competition, and a game you are supposed to win. That one to me is the most important. Now, I think Missouri game has a lot of national prestige to it, and I think that's a very winnable game for BYU. SEC coming in. Houston is an interesting matchup with the way they've been throwing the football around. And as you mentioned, don't sleep on the Mid-American Conference, right? Because teams coming out of there have been really physical and really good and has given BYU a challenge. That's a really challenging month. But to me, the must-win is Utah State.
The last time Zach Wilson played a MAC team, he didn't even throw an incompletion. It's not even going to be hard.
Not true. He lost to Toledo.
Oh, you're right, Toledo. Never mind.
Yeah, we forgot about
my facetious comment was blown up by reality. Okay, November at Boise State, San Diego State, North Alabama, live on BYU TV, and at Stanford. What's the biggest game in November?
Let's go with the same thing. Boise State is the most important game. And here's the thing. So Boise State and BYU, they vie for the most relevant non-P5 school in the country, let alone in the Intermountain West, certainly in the Intermountain West. And I think that this has developed into a really nice rivalry. They have a long-term commitment to one another in terms of playing each other. They recognize it as a rivalry, both fan bases. And Boise State, even though they're not P5, I think you get P5 cachet when you beat Boise State, because Boise State is respected around the country for what they've done. And so I think that that's the biggest game on the schedule for all of the reasons that we've been talking about. San Diego State's big too, and that's a natural old rival that's gone there. And then Stanford brings a lot of national prestige. They haven't been great the last couple of years, but David Shaw's teams have been just devastated with injuries, especially at the quarterback position. And they had a young team last year. I expect them to be really good, especially by the end of the season. So that one would have a lot, that's like the Missouri game. That gives you a lot of national prestige because Stanford's respected. But the most important game to me is Boise State for sure.
The big three rivals take the 3 months: Utah, Utah State, and Boise State, according to Blaine Fowler, in September, October, and November, respectively. Okay, BYU, as they get set for this loaded schedule, are now trying to get through a situation where there are voluntary workouts and this whole COVID-19 situation, trying to stay healthy. And the NCAA has come and said, okay, you can start your fall camp essentially in July, almost mid-July, July 20th. So, Blaine, what are the pros and cons of an extended fall camp for BYU football?
Well, the pro is that you have more time to develop chemistry, which you were cut short on during spring. And that's important for these guys because the informal leadership, doesn't come from the coaching staff. It's guys that step up and become leaders on the team. And I think that's just so important. If you're going to have a great season, the leadership has to be internal. It has to be amongst the players. So it gives you more time to develop that. The big con is 6 weeks. You're going to be so sick of one another. You're going to get, if you're not careful, and I know that Kalani's concerned about this, about just managing the workload over that period of time. You have a hard time keeping kids focused for that long. You have a hard time keeping everybody healthy because a lack of focus and you start to get the guys worn down is a recipe for injury. And I know Kalani's concerned about that. So they've got to figure out a way to keep it fresh over 6 weeks. That is not easy to do. So I expect they'll have times when they won't practice and do something that's just fun to get these guys away from it and take their minds off of it and let their bodies rest a little bit. They're going to have to watch unbelievably close to see when this team is either mentally or physically fatigued and give them a break. 6 weeks is a long time for these guys to be together. So I think there's some serious cons that you have to manage, but the pros are leadership development, camaraderie, chemistry, all of those things that you need to have a successful season.
Blaine, you're not a doctor, but you did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, and we have you play one on TV. So let's dive into this. How is this going to work with COVID-19 in football? Because essentially we can put as many things in place to try and prevent it before we get to the game. But once you play the game, you're playing, right? And there have been a lot of I watched English Premier League over the weekend. They're playing, right? And then if you have any symptoms, obviously you can't go to work. When they play, right, and someone has a positive test, right now we're saying anyone exposed to them needs to quarantine for 14 days. How do you think that's going to work? How are we going to make it so this works and that the quarterback doesn't get a positive test because he was around everybody?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The quarterback is and the center. Those are the two guys that handle the ball on every single solitary play, right? Unless you direct snap it to a running back, which rarely happens. So those two guys, one of those guys comes down with it. You got problems, right? Now you got to trace who they've interacted with, handed the ball to, everybody. And quarterback's that leader in the huddle. The center sets the huddle. Yeah, really anybody that comes down with it, it's going to be hard because as a team, you're going through 6 weeks of camp. You're together with one another all the time. And the likelihood that you pass something on is high. And so yet to be determined how this is managed. We're already hearing that in voluntary workouts, places like LSU and others
Houston
have had these cases crop up. Yep, Houston have had cases crop up. They've isolated the players and they're doing everything they can to manage it. And what we're seeing on a national basis, I just watched the press conference with Governor DeSantis the other night from Florida. And, Florida, I think, has been regarded as a state that's handled it pretty well. But they've got rising numbers right now. But what the governor said was it's a whole different group of people that are getting infected now. Now it's mostly young people in Florida. It's 18 to 35, where early on it was older folks and higher risk folks. And so now all of a sudden this thing's spreading out and younger people are getting it, but they're not having as serious as symptoms and not as many hospitalizations because they're younger and able to fight it better. I don't quite know what that means. Are we ever going to get to the point where we go, okay, people are going to get it and we have to go? We're not, we have to just keep doing things. I don't know that we're to that point yet, but I am so glad that I'm not the guy that has to make the decisions, right? Because you're walking this fine line of, in football, especially basketball, whatever it is, player safety and having to move on and get the economy going and all of that, because these universities, these football programs are a primary source of revenue. They are a big part of the economy, not just of the universities, but the cities that the universities reside in, integral part of the economy. And I am so grateful I don't have to be the guy making that call, because this is not an easy decision to make right now.
All right, well said, Blaine. Our resident doctor on BYU Sports Nation, delivering the goods once again. Okay, we'll allow you to go and study up some more before we reconvene next week.
We got it. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. And I can't wait till I just get to sit with you. Can't we get a bigger desk so that we can sit 6 feet apart and I can come with you guys?
It is pretty wide. We have not gone to the nether regions here of this desk. We will explore the space.
We're working on it.
I miss you guys, and I won't come in and bear hug you like I usually do and all that stuff. I'll be guarded, and I'll do a good job on social distancing, even though I don't usually with you guys, but I will. I promise, if you let me come back in.
All right, we'll get you. We'll get the waiver prepared. You can sign it, and then we'll move forward.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Good
Blaine.
to talk to you.
Blaine Fowler on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Yeah,